let's go into user-facing analytics. So first, what it is basically a process that provide real-time data insights to your end users, and that end user doesn't have to have much of technical skill, so you can get the data and insights with basically no engineering, no coding effort, right? And this really helps your users make those data-driven decisions and just do better. And if they're using your platform, it can definitely increase their engagement and retention, right? Because they're being more successful, right? And here are some of the general use cases, and I'm not gonna go deep into this one. So it's basically you have those internal use cases, right? You're in a corporation, and you can build dashboards and reports, right? So you can get, let's say, a performance report of an employee, right? Aggregated result with a simple click of a button, right? Or you can have those external use cases like personalized recommendation, right? And get aggregated result like fast, right? With a lot of users. And then we're gonna go into the industries, and this probably dive a little deeper with a few examples, right? First, I want to talk about logistic management. I have the privilege to work with a pretty big international logistic firm, and they have hundreds of thousands of delivery drivers and hundreds of distribution centers across the globe, right? And they basically took Star Rocks and built this kind of centralized analytics platform that's used for a lot of things like route planning, route optimization, internal analytics. Like the different teams use it to do like ad hoc query, but that's probably not user facing. But build those like intuitive dashboards and reports with a click of a button, right? So just imagine you're a delivery driver at that company. You would have a phone, right? And use that phone to direct where you should go next for your next delivery, and also with the optimal route, right? And the second industry or case I want to talk about is gaming. And it's also a huge gaming company I've been working with for a long time. And they have hundreds of titles, and they have a bunch of studios too making those games. And each studio has like different teams. So it's a huge company, and they make a lot of stuff. And so they had a problem before, right? So because their data were all like scattered around, and each studio, each team were making their own kind of metric to evaluate how well their games are doing, right? And so they wanted a centralized, like a platform that can standardize everything, right? So they took Star Rocks and built this analytical platform. So as a employee or as analyst in this company, any game you can log into that platform, and with a few click of button, you can know how well game is doing in real time. So you can adjust the strategy, and as well as like run promotions or events, in those games to boost your revenue. Right? And this is important. And the first two are probably more, I would say, internal facing, and the third is more external facing, right? And this is a social media platform that has, not sure about now, but I think 2 to 300 million monthly active users. And the one of the big source of their revenue is a lot of advertisers run ads on their platform, right? And so they provided a service, uh, ads analytics service, so the advertisers can in real time log into their console and see how their ads are doing and uh, adjust strategy based on that, right? It has to be real time because every second counts, right? Every second you're running ads, you're spending money, right? So you always want to get that fast result for a lot of advertisers at the same time, right? Actually, all of these three cases are on the Set Data blog. And the first one is JD.com, second one is Tencent, the third one is Red. And you can go search up and read those blogs.